Hi, Lauren, and welcome to your new feedback session. Today I'm going to try to record better sound, better audio. Hopefully that works. And also I'm going to use the Cintiq properly this time, so I might be looking down for the whole review. It's because I'm actually looking at my Cintiq to draw on it. So first of all, let's play what you sent me. Cool. Cool. So as I was telling you, we're gonna go shot by shot because this is actually a few shots, not one shot. We're gonna go shot by shot. We're gonna start by the first one and work our way through and see how far we can go in this session. And and see animation-wise how we can plus it. I'll make some general comments first, if you don't mind. I'm not gonna spend too long on it because I know you want to get into the animation, and that's fine. In general, I think it works much better than what you had before in terms of storytelling. I still think that this camera move is not working really well. We can get into details of that. And story-wise, so he jumps out here. Then he's going forward. And then this guy's waiting for the punch. And then he still has a ton of distance to go. And it doesn't feel like he's physically jumping, but more like flying. I wonder if that's necessary to have that whole bit, especially since then it stops completely the camera. And also there's a little problem we have, which is like here we are from the guy's perspective, the other guy's perspective. Then here we still are from his perspective. We're over his shoulder, but we're still looking at the same guy. And then at the last shot, again. So I think the problem is that you got 3 times similar shots, camera angles. So I would work on that so that after this you can go so you could get either this guy's point of view, so you look at this guy from the front, but then that would be kind of the same as this one, or maybe you cut that shot entirely. But even then, that's a weird cut. So basically the rule, all I'm saying, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. All I'm saying is the rule is usually you don't want to have a cut and the people that you were looking at in the same position as they were in the previous cut. So for example, if I'll just draw it quickly, is that if on shot, on the first shot, you see character green here. Then on the next shot, I'll zoom in. So you see his face, right? Yeah. And he has a ponytail. You'll see why. It's important. So on this shot, if you look at this guy, he's on the right, and you look at him from the front, if there's a cut and he doesn't get off screen, there's a cut at this moment, on the next shot, he needs to be kind of like opposite. And from the other side, here's the ponytail. And the other side, and that would be the same. So you would be talking to a red guy, and the red guy would be in the front here, I guess. Okay. So this is kind of the golden rule to deal with cuts. So the problem you have here is that between those shots, here you got this guy. I call it the green guy. He's here. Then he's kind of centered as well. And then here is still kind of centered, and also he's tiny. And then here he's still kind of centered, and he's here. So it's like we cut to the same thing, basically. So you want to try to play around with that, try something that works better. So for now, we'll just probably focus on the first half of the shots. So let's start with this one. Let me isolate it. Actually, we'll just maybe stop before the to zoom in. Let me open the window. It's getting hot. All right, so let's play again. So the first thing I notice is the fall is a bit slow. It's kind of like he's floating a little bit down. You want to have, I'm talking about this guy obviously for now. You want to have more of a zip down. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, I hope I'm close enough to the mic. There you go. The first thing is the speed and also the poses here could be worked on. So you got to think about the general movement of where he's going. So, and you got to do a line of action that goes with it. So if we assume he's going to land like this with one leg, also try to break down the poses so that you get some variation there. Let me just, is it B? No, what's D? Oh, damn it. I can't remember the trace. No. So that would be T, I guess. T, there you go. All right, let me get in there. So you want to find a pose where, also, by the way, I'm not a great drawer, so this is not the pose you need to do. It's a type, the rule you need to follow. So, kind of. So he's falling straight, so that's going to be the general movement. And then you want to have the pose kind of fall into this. I don't know if this would work, maybe. Like that, or opposite, I guess. If you want to do the opposite, that's probably working better. So more like. So the important part of this is you need to choose which foot it lands on. It can be either. I think I would probably go for the left foot first. And then you have your pose fit into that movement. See that line of action? This is the line of action. And the arms as well. You want everything to feel like it's connected. And then you can have variation of one foot that's still in the air. But you want to have a graphic pose. Right now, the silhouette is kind of what we call muddy. It's kind of hard to read it. And also, there's a lot of unnecessary rotation of the torso. I'm not saying you shouldn't rotate it. I'm just saying it would be more like, let's say we try to do this one, and it's like, basically the bum and the shoulders are doing a different thing on your pose. Also, you want to have the shoulder line and the I can't draw and explain. So the shoulder line and the pelvis line to be kind of like opposite, right? So like this, because this leg is lifting, this arm is maybe lifting a bit more to create variation. Something more like that. But obviously play around with it. And then once you have your pose, landing pose, then you kind of need to do the same thing. Like you extend that line of action to where it starts. And then you draw your poses inside of it. So so that it flows through that pose. Okay? So let's see. Because here right now, see, you have that kind of like tunnel where it should be, and then your character is kind of going off of it. It's kind of breaking the line of action, which is not what you want. You want a flowing line of action, okay? So more fluidity in those poses. And then in terms of the spacing and the timing, I would reduce that by maybe 2 frames. So again, remember the spacing. You want to have a spacing that is tighter at the top and falling faster, right? There's probably something about this timing you want as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, sorry, I can't count in English. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9. I think I was saying 2 frames, so 2, 3 frames maybe would do the trick. Maybe this would still be like that. But this is the spacing you want, because you want it to be falling from the top and accelerating to the ground. Alright? A little bit of coffee. So, once it's touched the ground. So one thing I'm going to say is I don't think this arm pose makes sense. It has no purpose, is what I'm saying. It's like, there's no reason why you would do that, other than trying to look cool. I'm not even saying it doesn't really look cool. I'm sorry if it's a bit brutal or whatever. I'm not judging like choices. I'm just saying that it doesn't look cool. It looks a little bit too cliche, and it's unnecessary physically. It makes no sense. So if you land on both of your arms, also we need to find a way that those arms are not landing on fist, because it makes also no sense. There's only one reason you would land on fist. I mean, you wouldn't land on fist, but if you want to make a shot where someone is punching the ground, then you have the fist. If you want to make a shot where someone is landing and catching themselves with their hands, you're going to land on hands, not feet, not fist, okay? So that's the first thing that we need to solve is having the hands flat on the ground, supporting the weight. And remember, an animation is all about supporting the weight, making it feels like it has weight, and that's how you sell everything, like believability and organic beings, right? So we land in this pose. See, imagine yourself in that position. If you fall, the first thing you're going to do is going to be putting your hands out to catch yourself. And also, your head is going to be looking down, not already looking at inside, right? You would see the head still. So anyway, we need to find a good pose for this. So here I'm talking about that connecting pose, actually, like that. This one, I guess that could work, kind of. Maybe one hits the ground first, the other one is maybe still catching up. And you need to clear that silhouette, because right now it's very hard to know what's going on. You don't have a lot of space, that's true. But we need to see a bit more what's going on inside. So clearing that silhouette can help. And then if you want the next frame, you can, well, next couple frames, I don't know exactly. So you would have the hand on the floor. And the arm would be straight. I mean, this is terrible drawing, I'm sorry, I'll redo it. Because it's supporting the weight, so This is not better, but whatever. And it's pushing the shoulders up because it's supporting the weight. And then the head could be maybe a little bit, if you could get the head to have like a bump here and it's still looking down so that you can show that he's looking down, but even as a silhouette, right? Trying to solve that silhouette problem as much as you can. Okay, and then what could happen after this is you could lift his head and his chest from that pose. But keeping the arm where they were. So essentially, he's doing this. He's like, he's falling. Let me see my camera. He's falling. It's like this, and he's like, this feels way more natural. I know you kind of wanted some sort of superhero pose with this arm, but I don't think it makes sense. Especially since you're cutting through after, and it's not you're not using that arm in the next shot. So that's why I think it's important to only use what we need. When you between those two poses, so between this and this, you want to unroll your body, like you want the body to overlap in a way that makes sense. So you're gonna have first, after this pose, you're gonna have the second foot fall. So I'll do a different pose then. This is a bit too big of a drawing, but I'm just focusing on the head position, and then I'll change the arms and stuff. But this is still in the air, and this is maybe one arm is still in the air. The body is starting to curve. Maybe the head is still a bit back. The body is starting to fold. Sorry for the sirens if you heard them. And maybe you'll need another pose between those two to show the hand starting to reach for the ground. Because he wants to catch himself. Maybe here the hand is still in the air. So yeah, making sure that the body is overlapping and unfolding properly when it lands. And then when it lands as well, don't forget to add an overshoot. you have a little bit of one, but basically it means if your body just like this is the body, when it falls on the ground, it goes down, but it has a little bounce back up, like in a settle, kind of this, because there's like still energy in it that needs to resolve. So it's like boom, it's like a bouncing ball. So mostly would be on the chest, and then you will offset the head as well. But yeah, don't forget the overshoot to sell the weight again. Right. Then he leaves the head. The head move up is a tiny bit fast. And you got an overshoot on the whole body there. But at the same time, I don't feel like the chest is moving much. Also, by the way, when you lift that arm here, if that was an actual situation, I think you would shift your weight all the way around here on your other arm so you can lift this arm. It's like, try to do this pose yourself as a reference just to feel the things. And you'll see if you have both arms supporting your weight on the ground and you decide to take one off, there's two options. Either you don't shift your weight, this is called shifting your weight, and you fall on your face. Or you do shift your weight and you can lift your arm. But you can't do both. You can't lift your arm without shifting the weight. So anyway, oh, nice. That's the thing. There's a little smile here, I think. But it's too small. Let's come back to this because we can't see it. It's better to do it at another point. So he lifts his head in about 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. I would do at least 6, probably 8. Whoops. Experiment which one feels best. Then he has his head up, and then you do a keep alive. So keep alive would be just chest, shoulders, breathing like this. Right. So face is hard to tell what's going on. So yeah, don't forget to change these poses. Spend some time doing a nice hand pose. Take photos of yourself in all angles, pushing your weight on the floor, and try to find a nice hand pose that has the fingers properly distributed and a nice pose. Okay. See what feels right. Spend some time on it. It's important. Because then you do it once, you don't have to worry too much about it. Alright, let's see the other guy. I assume the other guy is still rough at this point. Like kind of a placeholder. I'm assuming. Also, is he supposed to carry something? Because this posing seems like he is, but I'm not sure. So I would work on this guy. I'm not going to comment too much because right now, to me, it's not there. It's still super. I feel like you left it just as a layout, which is good. The angle of his face is good, but I would make him in a pose that we kind of see as the villain or something, like this. And the breathing seems like he's doing this. So I try to have a more subtlety, and again, film yourself, see how you breathe. Like your shoulders, when you breathe, they are not moving with your body. So it's not like this. It's more like, which you can see is slightly different, right? So think about that, and on the turn, I mean, you need to kind of work on that guy. Then he leaves. And so then we can move on to the zoom in. So let me go. Oh, there you go. Oh, wait a minute. I have a doubt now. Did I press 30? Oh crap. Did I press 30 frames per second, or was it at 30 frames? No, it was 24, because that would show me a different color. Yeah. Okay. I hope I've not been reviewing. No, I feel like this is the speed I've been reviewing at. Because it definitely feels like the fall is too slow. Let's see. Yeah, fall is too slow. And then the head move, still too fast. Okay. Let's move back on those drawings. Yes. So when you do a camera change like that, so the issue is you're going from, it's kind of the same as before. Like we're talking about staging. This is your frame right now. Your frame is like this, and right now your little guy is kind of like not even on a third. I mean the third of the screen, right? Oh, sorry, I did fourth. So that would be the third, kind of here. Kind of here maybe. And then what? So in cinema, usually you want character. Well, the important stuff usually happens in that area or at those corners. It's called the golden square, I think. I mean, in French it is. It's where the eye is directed when you do stuff. So your all action here could be all this action of this guy could be in this spot. So it would land in this spot. And then the other guy would be more, it's okay to be, where is he? It's okay if he's not right in there, because he's not the main action of this. So it's fine. But these lines of the thirds are where things happen in cinema. You can check on the movies you watch. And this golden square is very important stuff. Not saying whatever is around is useless, but this is easier to do transitions, and it's easier to attract the eye by using this rule of thirds. So once your guy is going to be here, then zooming in on him is a bit easier, because right now, again, you want to redo your thirds. I'm doing this, but I'm pretty sure the thirds are included in there. I'm sure there's like a show grade kind of stuff. Maya has, in Maya you have it. But anyway, I'll do the thirds again. It's kind of this. So if you put this guy's face, it needs to be kind of like, if you want to zoom in, it needs to be in the same spot as it was before compared to the screen. So if here, this guy is at this part of the screen, here, then technically here, let me see if I can show the ghost for many, many frames. Yeah, technically it should still be in the same area. So it should be on the thirds. That's why, so you would like to zoom in on this guy here. Kind of. And that is how you judge the camera zoom in, because this is zoom in, it's not a travel, the camera shouldn't be moving much. It should go just straight in to his face. And then you got your camera movement working. Right now, it's kind of rotating around him, and it just doesn't feel right. Because, you know, when you imagine this is a real camera, because in 3D we can move around how all we want with cameras, so we don't think about it in a proper camera way. But if you think about a guy holding the camera or a crane or whatnot, at this moment, it's very fast. So what you want when you want to zoom in on someone, you have your camera set on that person. You can try at home with like a digital camera, and you press the zoom button and it just goes vzz on it. But it doesn't go around, right? It's not like you're running to catch the guy and then you have to do a semicircle to get it to the guy. So it really needs to be you already on the objective and then you zoom in. So that's kind of the idea. That said, if you really want to have him in the plane center, which could be a choice of yours, it will need to be in the plane center here, which is probably not what you want because you have an over the shoulder here. Sorry, this is all cinematography stuff, not really animation, but it is linked because we do make movies. Especially when you do a multi-shot animation, then you have to follow those rules. So my advice would be, put him on the third here, zoom in on the third here, so that he's still in the third, same size, whatever the position is, the pose. And then it will work. And your zoom, I think, is a bit fast. I would add 2 frames on the zoom in and maybe a settle, like an overshoot. Sorry. So if this is your zoom, right? Pose A. Pose C, so that's your final pose. And B is an overshoot. That's a massive overshoot. I want a small overshoot, sorry. B. And when you zoom in, it would be like this, and I guess like tight at the beginning, then it accelerates, and then it bounces back. It's like a all right. So enough about the camera. Then let's talk about the pose. So this facial pose, I think you said it was still rough. It does feel a little bit rough and a little bit like it could use work. So let's see what we can do. There we go. So let's think about it. First of all, we had his arms, his shoulders up because his weight is, his weight is, I'm drawing it in the middle, but keeping in mind, you should have him more like on the third, right? Like we talked about. But I'm just going to draw over your pose right now to talk about posing. So his arms are straight down because he's holding his weight. Actually, it would be more straight, probably. And then, so he's, let me think. So his head is, I'm going to come back to that drawing I did here. I mean, I did kind of do it, but I did kind of do it instinctively, but have his spine kind of angled so that one shoulder is, it would be nicer that way. Maybe one shoulder is taking more weight than the other, right? Because right now it's flat, and flat is not as nice, and it's very twinned. It's like the same on each side. So have it with an angle, kind of like I drew it here, with this one being a little bit, this one being a little bit higher. Or the other one, but it's just that you want to just angle it to have a nice dynamic pose. And then later on, when you have this pose, you still have that angle, whichever you chose. Let's say because of your orientation right now, I'm just going to do it as if it's this way. And then the head, actually, forget what I said about the shoulders, because he lift his head. When you lift your head, it's like the shoulders kind of relax a little bit. And he's starting to look up at this other dude, right? Let's make a nice facial pose. So you want to angle a little bit higher as well, his eye line. So his eyebrows, I don't know this rig, but you want to have, some sort of bend in the insert inside, because you don't want it to be like straight here as an arrow like this. It's kind of weird. Eyebrows are more like this shape. This shape. And when you move the eyebrows, this part moves a lot. This part moves a lot. This middle part moves a little bit, and then the last part pretty much never moves. Well, doesn't move that much. So if you can point this, it will kind of like always kind of be the same spot. And you need to have the eyes follow. I'm not liking this, having this on there, because it's kind of hard to guess what's going on. So I'm just going to erase his face. There we go. You want the eyebrows, well, this is probably a little bit much, but you want connection between the eyebrows and the eyes. The skin on that eyebrow. And you want some variation in how your eyebrows are. Let me see the eyes, what they look like on this rig. And he's looking up, so you want to have, whoops, that's still too low. You want something more like this. And so the general idea of your face is that, so first of all, the eyebrows, look, they're connected to that invisible line. And then they're opening up that side, so we're going to open the mouth the same side. You're kind of doing it. It's not bad. And you're going to crunch, that, whoops, that other side a bit more. Wait, it's not very appealing. And then you're going to crunch the nose as well on one side. So by lifting this. Also, sometimes it's good to lift the eyelid, the bottom eyelid, on the side that is pushed. So the idea is that all those little muscles, they're pushed up because of this corner here. And so they're pushing everything up. And then here's the opposite. So you're going to get some sort of this kind of face. And the orientation of the head will be a bit more, it'll be opposite to the shoulders. So let me just erase all that. Sorry, I'm feeling like I'm constantly not looking towards you, but you get my point. It's just I have to look down to draw. So this is the kind of pose we have in the end, where also his neck is whoops. It's not as bad as low. There you go. Something more like that, right? So you want to create appeal in that face. You want to make it, I know sometimes rigs feel limited, But you gotta think, I'm gonna do whatever I can with this rig so that it fits what I want. So sometimes you're gonna push things around and make things too extreme and broken and whatnot, but you wanna have a pose that is what you want, as much as you can. And I think something similar to this would be more communicative of the intention. It looks a bit like Rami Malek. If you can do something about it, try to move those eyes a little bit inside. I don't know why the design feels like they're like a little bit apart. It makes him look a little bit odd. It does look a little bit like bulky Rami Malek. And when you blink, a blink, I mean, this is rough, I think. So I would keep working on that for sure. So when you zoom in on the guy, he's living already. He's still living, and he's just jumped really high. So he must be breathing a bit. So in this case, he should be doing like with his face like this. You could also have, since you're zooming in on his face, and it's kind of one of the moments where you can really focus on his face, have acting here. That's the moment you put acting. So you're zooming on his face, and he's doing something like that. He's already, like, his jaw has dropped because of the breathing. He's like, maybe he's not frowning yet. At the beginning, he's like, and then he's like, something like that, you know? Like, have something happen in his mouth, a tightening of the eyebrows. A blink, you have to read, like, a blink, when you blink in general, there's several reasons for a blink. There's the biological need for a blink, which is to clean your eye. But it also means you're a little bit relaxed. It translates that you're a bit relaxed. And you will often see people that are relaxed, kind of like, you know, talking with like lots of blinks. But if you're really intense, having an argument with someone or something is bothering you, you're very focused, you blink very, like, much less often. So that's something to keep in mind. In that moment, if he's tight and intense and, you know, he wants to fight, there's no need to blink. There's no time to blink. It's just like, you know. So anything here you can add, but this is the moment you need to do acting. And right now it's kind of like feeling a bit dead. And things are moving kind of randomly. Like this cheek. I feel like don't get this wrong, maybe I'm totally inventing this, but it feels like you're like, I need to move stuff around to make it seem like he's alive. But it's kind of all a little bit random. That lip movement is random. So what I would do is really work on filming yourself acting that moment and look at everything that moves in your face and put that in your animation. And don't be, for the lack of a better word, don't be lazy in putting everything you can. Don't just like do one lip, whatever. Just do the whole thing. So the body's going to react. It's like the shoulders are going to be breathing, and it's like, it doesn't need to be big movements, but he needs to be alive. He's alive. His body's alive, and you need to show it. Again, doesn't mean that you need to have everything moving around everywhere. It could be just very subtle up and down because of the breathing, and then the frown, and that's it. But everything needs to kind of like move for a reason, and biologically, and on the intention side of things. And it just needs, to be properly animated in terms of like the acting. And it's a good time to do acting this bit. And then before he lifts up, add an antic. So he's still his arms on the ground. Well, have a pose where, I'll do it in yellow, where he's tucking his head in and basically getting ready to push himself. And then he pushes up this way. Arms down. And then he can run off. All right? What time is it? Let's talk about your run a bit. And then I think we'll call it. So the run, the first thing is, since you decided to have a camera like this, I'm assuming your camera is moving. I'm not sure. What I'm seeing is that the root is doing this way and then this way, and it doesn't make sense. It's kind of moving in space. So it's either you have, this is what I'm suggesting, either you have a run where the body is going this way, right? Whatever. And on camera, you see the body translating from this side to this side. Or you have a camera that doesn't move and you have the body always in the middle and you only see the up and down movement of the body on every step. And you do this, and then in the back, then you could add your run lines or whatever and post. I would go for this. Right now, you're kind of in between because your body is going back and forth, like forward and backwards. Here it's forward, and then it goes backwards. So I would do that, like fix that. Also, I would go even more intense, maybe 1 frame less on each step to make it more like the running super fast. Yeah, I would do the running a little bit faster. And here, there's, maybe it's because it's, yeah, when you go forward, there's something odd about this cycle. Here, your foot should be a bit more like this. And then here, you want to reach forward more with your foot being more, oops. More up. Even more, I think, maybe. I mean, this is probably fine, but I'll go a bit further. Right now, it feels like he's not really going forward here. He's trying to reach forward, so especially since the back leg goes so far. If you want to run, this is the pose where you're reaching. This is the pose where you're reaching the furthest you can. Could be even more than that. So your running pose should be like this. And then the next one where the leg is contacting the ground is like this. But yeah, right now, what you have right now is that your leg, while you're at the top pose, is kind of like this already. So it's missing that push forward. And then here at the end, when you gather to jump, also your body is kind of like going off screen at the top there. I'm not sure why. But here, this is really unbalanced, basically. Like here in real life, you would fall on your bum here. Because there's nothing supporting your bum. Look, imagine there's a whole body of the guy at the top there. And it's supported by nothing. Because the weight, the support is here. So if you want to have a push, you need to have the leg underneath. Sorry, I need to draw a different color. But you need to have the leg pushing like this because the body would be properly. Sorry, I'm terrible at drawing while I talk. I don't know why I try. I'll stop. Your body wants to be well balanced between on your support leg, right? So you need to have the support leg under your bum or your center of gravity, and then the rest of the body needs to be fitting within that space here, right? So that's important to push, because then even here, you feel like it's falling that way. All right. So I hope that's quite a lot of notes, honestly. I hope that's those make sense to you, and they help you out. Yeah, it's coming along. I mean, it's already gone a long way from the first time you showed me. So yeah, congrats, keep going. And yeah, I'll be here if you need me. And yeah, good work. Bye.